Warning: the following program contains flashing imagery and content which may be considered harmful or traumatizing to some. Viewer discretion is extremely advised. Welcome to the darkest depths. The horrific murders began on September 8, 1998, when 13-year-old Shirley Nicholas, a 5th grade student in southern Belize City, went missing while walking towards her school. For a month, her family desperately searched for her, until on October 9th her body was found in a pool of water alongside the George Price Highway. She had been stabbed more than 40 times in the head and chest, with one of her arms almost completely cut off, and her face brutally cut open. The body also showed signs of rape, but most noticeably, Shirley was found to be wearing someone else's clothes. The clothes she wore belonged to a 9-year-old girl named Jade Blades, who had gone missing just 2 days prior to Shirley's discovery. Jay's skull and a few bones were recovered another 6 months later, inside of Shirley's knapsack. On March 23, 1999, another young girl, 12-year-old Jackie Fern Malik, vanished during recess while playing on her school's playground. Just 2 days later, her body was found face down in a puddle along a dirt road bordering the area where Nicholas was found. She had been stabbed multiple times, and her left arm was completely severed and missing. There was also indications that she had been run over by a car. On June 26, 1999, 8-year-old Erica Wills disappeared, but it went unnoticed for 3 days, as at the time she was supposed to stay over at some relatives, who in turn thought that she was at home with their family. A month later, on July 18th, her skeletal remains were found behind a quarry 20 miles west of Belize City. She was identified only by a ring on her finger that she always wore. By this time, tensions among the populace were rising, and demands for the killer to face justice were high, with the victims' families holding candlelight vigils. The police force issued a curfew to all underage children, but despite their efforts, the Ripper struck one final time. On February 15, 2000, 14-year-old Noemi Hernandez went missing while running errands around her area. 9 days later, her mutilated body was found on a sandy mound along the Belize River, with multiple stab wounds to the face and neck, and several of her body parts missing. Her father identified the body as that of Noemi's by the blue jeans she was wearing. The killings caused widespread panic in the tiny nation, with a national curfew imposed and guards posted at schools. In the months following the last murder, several incidents were reported of a man driving a red car and wearing a stocking mask who unsuccessfully attempted to attack and abduct young girls in Belize City. The assailant was never located. In 2000, pathologists announced a gruesome revelation. Prior to being murdered, all the young girls were given drugs and alcohol, as well as being viciously tortured. The Ripper had used the same instrument in all 5 cases, and judging by the precision of the cuts made on the bodies, it is assumed that he either has a medical background, or at the very least access to surgical utilities. It is also believed at least 3 of the victims were held captive at the same place. Because of the relative proximity their bodies were found to one another. There may have been 2 killers, because the way some of the victims were held down and cut open suggests the need for multiple individuals. From 1998 to 2000, the killer is believed to have killed up to 7 girls from the ages of 9 to 15. They were found mutilated along deserted highways or in the shallow tide line around Belize City. The lack of forensic facilities to test blood, semen, fibers, and bone has crippled local police. Suspects have been arrested, only to be released for lack of evidence. The case of the Belize Ripper remains unsolved to this day. Thank you for watching Darkest Depths. Follow on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok for the absolute worst that humanity has to offer in true crime and horror. Merchandise available through teespring.com. Episode requests made through darkestdepthstruecrime@gmail.com. No one is safe.